When searching for a home, a must-have list is vital. After living in my family home for a year, we had a very small list of criteria. We knew we loved each other's company, and as such, we didn't need much space. We weren't too concerned about location because, well, sadly, we were already so far away from our family. Well, perhaps I should call them extended family now, because that's what happens when you get married. The people who were once your family become your extended family, and whilst this is sad, it is in fact bittersweet, because you get to create a new family with someone you choose. We initially wanted somewhere remote, but realised, with winter being so harsh and so unfamiliar to what we're used to, perhaps having a handy neighbour wouldn't be so bad. At the end of the day, you have this idea of what you want, but you have to let life reveal the most perfect place and plan for you.
No, the stream's this way.
Good morning. Hey. We are going to see the very first house we will hopefully buy. We are 20 minutes away, so it's very exciting. So excited. So excited. Pop culture reference done. Yeah, it's just very exciting. So hopefully we'll get there in time and have a little nosy around. We don't know if this is the one we want. Jack is holding out love for a white one. I'm holding out love for a red one.
Saturday.
Yeah, we're seeing the white one on Saturday, and then there's the red one, which I really love, but it's just such an uncertainty, which is viewing on Sunday, and we need to work out the logistics of that, so who knows.
This is the first house we went to see. We found this house on Hemnet, which is where we found all the houses, to be honest. And this particular one was advertised with a company called Hemverket, which I'm probably pronouncing wrong. But that is where the sellers are the people who actually show you around the house. So the first fun experience we encountered when viewing houses was we got shown around this little house by an old man who didn't speak very much English. So that was fun.
The house was lovely, but the kitchen was just really small for us. Overall, the price of the house was 150,000 Swedish crowns, but it was on bidding, so therefore people could have bid higher or lower, and then the person who would get the house is the one who bid the most. The house was also so toasty and so warm, which we knew was a must because we know Sweden is going to be very cold. But the basement was very scary. Very, very scary.
Yeah, we ended up having to call the man's son. Did a bit of a translate over the phone when we had questions about the house, and we asked, is there anything we need to know about the house? Basically said, oh yes, the basement, but you'll see. So we just got led by this man who didn't speak any English into his dark basement, and this is what we were presented with. So still watching it back now, I'm not entirely sure what we're looking at. It's obviously an unfinished basement. I don't know if there's any issues. There might be.
Outside the house there was this really sweet stream which I was very excited about.
And it had a couple of outbuildings like many of the houses we saw did, but they were quite small. There wasn't anywhere to actually put a car in, which we decided that we did want, given how cold it got.
This was the house Jack was really excited to see, but as you can see, it looked a lot worse.
Yes, we spoke to the agents online and they were like, oh yeah, it needs a little bit of renovations, but it's fine, you can move straight in. And yes, it was much worse than we were led to believe. As you can see, the roof had quite a lot of rust on it. I think it's just surface rust, so it probably would have been fine if we had painted it or done something to it. The inside was warm. But yeah, there's just a lot of stuff that needed doing. It was more than just the cosmetics on the inside, at least. It didn't even have a bath or a shower, did it? It had a...
Here the piping is...
I don't know if we took a video of it, but it had a shower. The man had plugged in his own pipings.
I think the worst thing about this house, and what really put me off, is the next door neighbour was selling this house. So it was his house. And we always knew that that would be great. We get to meet the neighbours. We get to know what they're like. And we were asking so many questions like, oh, do you know a local plumber? Do you know anyone who could help us with this? And he was just so standoffish. I know people say Swedish people are standoffish, but it was just so much. And I'm like, we're going to buy a house. We're going to live next to you. I mean, smile a little. Tell us that you have a number for a plumber. We're clearly English. It was just an awful experience. And, you know, had he been nicer, maybe we would have had it, but there was too much work. It was a lot.
So this one was advertised at 150,000, and this particular agent is very confusing. It wasn't clear whether or not it would go to bidding. They would sort of put it up at a price, and they'd say it might go to bidding unless they take another offer. So we were under the impression he would take 175,000 krones, which is about £16,000.
Also, what I did love about this house is it had a view of a dam, and there was a little walkway down to the dam, and it was just really pretty, but it just wasn't the one.
Undeterred by the disappointment of the White House, we soldiered on north in preparation to see the red house that Naomi loved the next day. We got to our beautiful stopover for the night and soaked in the glorious views of northern Sweden. Shortly after we arrived, however, a spanner was thrown in the works. The host of our Airbnb, which we had booked as our base for the month, sent us a text to say that we could be shown around our neighbour's house, which we'd heard might be for sale. Now this put us in a dilemma, because the house which we were hoping to see the next day, further north in Sweden, was already at the upper limit of our budget, and with our experience with the bidding processes for these houses so far, we were concerned that we wouldn't be able to afford it. We didn't want to miss the opportunity to view this house that we really loved near where we were staying before, so we decided to not even stay the night and drive back.
But on the way, we realised that there was another house we could also see.
We had also been searching for houses on Blockit, which is kind of like Gumtree. It's just anyone can go and post an advert for anything from a dishwasher to a house to a dog. We had also just stumbled across a couple houses on there, and it turned out that one of them was literally just on our drive back home. And we messaged the guy, and it was pretty late at night. We just said, oh, on the off chance we're driving by, can we stop in and have a look at the house? And he said yes.
So this house was on the market for 100,000 Swedish crowns, which is about £9,000, and I loved how secluded it was, and it had this beautiful forest in the back, and it had lots of trails and tracks, and I just thought it'd be really pretty.
I mean, It does smell bad, like we couldn't move straight in. We would have
I don't think it smells too bad.
and we basically would have to come and work here and get it ready to move in whilst we stayed in the Airbnb. So like we'd have to like strip the walls and redo the floors and stuff. And give it a real good clean.
And what's that door? That's what I'm not.
Oh yeah, have we seen a toilet?
No.
Okay, so the only place to wash at the moment is that thing downstairs. It didn't even have a proper bathroom to shower in. It had in the basement sort of a piece of polythene and like a tap. And that was basically the shower. I don't know if we got any footage of that, but that kind of horrified me. So yeah, I saw this and thought, wow, it's a big undertaking. Well, no.
The kitchen works. The kitchen looks nice.
It's definitely got some potential. Okay, so this obviously has collapsed. But at this time we thought, well, that's cheap.
That's very cheap.
We didn't actually think it was that bad value at the time, but we just thought we'd rather spend more money and do less work.
Yeah.
The good thing is you've got lots of spare tin.
I still can't believe we thought this was good value. So after viewing the house and really thinking we might consider buying it, we decided to go for a walk in the woods nearby.
And the woods were beautiful. We could fully envisage ourselves waking up in the morning and going off for these walks through the woods, and there was nice trails, and yeah, it was very picturesque and we really enjoyed it. And luckily at the time that we were viewing this house, because it was summer, it was still really bright, even though it was quite late. I wonder how much of this is actually with the house. So whilst the house was certainly more work than we wanted, we left feeling as though it was good value, and if we had to, we could make it work. But we were still hopeful that our neighbour's house would be the one. Is it coming up?
But we saw a double rainbow, so we knew that something good was coming our way. Oh my god. We loved it so much.
After having seen a few houses, we had a good feel for what you got for your money. And this house certainly did seem to represent really good value for money. You could move straight in, it was nice, it was clean, needed a few little like cosmetic things just to make it real modern and nice, but you could definitely live in it exactly as it was.
Wow, thank you so much.
Thank you for showing us.
Yeah. The kitchen was cute. It had this pastel blue, which wouldn't have been my favourite, but it worked. It was good enough. Oh, this is fun.
Should we go downstairs? It had a basement, which was a place you actually would want to spend time, which we had not seen a single other house where that was the case. The house before this, we were looking at a basement where the only place to wash was a tap next to a piece of polythene. This one is painted and has a jacuzzi in the bathroom. Like, you thought I was joking, but it's legit a jacuzzi.
Okay, this is working. This is livable.
It was, however, a complete and utter tip. It was evidently owned by someone who really did not care about being tidy or even particularly care about his belongings that much. It even had new geothermal heating, which was just easy and cheap bills.
Oh, you've got your car here.
Huge. Oh, there's room to work on a car. Had the nice views of the lake, had neighbours that we knew and liked. It was all looking really good. The only slight hiccup is it wasn't technically for sale.
Had it been for sale, it would have cost 175,000 crowns, which is probably about 16,000 pounds.
Oh, this is lovely.
This guy has to sell us his house. He has no option. I don't even know why we went to see this house. It was way overvalued. I think I just wanted to see other things because I was very worried about not getting a house. I think it was on the market for 275,000 crowns, which was about 25,000 pounds. It was not the one. I loved this house because it was just overlooking a beautiful stream, and anytime you opened the windows you just heard gushing water. It didn't have much of land, but the stream was amazing.
This house viewing was sort of an open house type thing where there was multiple interested parties viewing at the same time, and this is the one and only experience we've had in Sweden where people have worn face masks, but we were still all allowed in the house at the same time.
I like the floor, the parquet.
Oh, this house. I kept asking everyone, is the roof okay? Is there anything wrong with the roof? And this man was like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with the roof except the big gaping hole that was in the roof.
It was honestly something from Stranger Things. At this point, it was safe to say things weren't exactly going to plan. Our neighbour had decided he didn't want to sell his house. We had stranger things coming through walls and houses without bathrooms. But we were still in love with Sweden, and we were still keeping the faith that the right thing would come along.